on Ian versus Daddybones, we're getting fucking spooky and talking about the evil horde. Welcome back! It's another exciting episode of Ian versus Daddybones. I'm Ian Daddybones. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. To everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook right now, hey everybody, what's going on? As always, I got a special high five and a nut tap to all my Facebook and Patreon subscribers supporting the brand for $2 to $3 a month, respectively, depending on where you want to go. Support the brand. Today, we're going to be talking about some monsters. And not just monsters, we're going to talk about Eternian monsters, actually Etherian space monsters. And I'm talking about none other than the Evil Horde, led by Hordak. Now, on the last episode of the show, when I opened up this Horde Apprentice Acolyte version of Skeletor, now, real quick, going back to this episode, the more I think about it, I opened up the Skeletor figure, but the one thing I failed to do was read the description on the back of the packaging. So I'm going to do that real quick. And it says, Skeletor, Evil Lord of Destruction. Skeletor's relationship with Evil Lyn dates back to when she was but a vagrant living in the gutters. A servant of Hordak at the time, Skeletor rescued Evil Lyn from an angry mob, enhanced her magic, and gave her a place to belong. Not out of any sense of heroism or chivalry, but rather out of desire to expand his own evil power. So that version of Skeletor, while I did explain different versions and times where we have seen that version of Skeletor, including the story where he met Evil Lyn, this particular version is from that Masters of the Universe Revelation comic book. And one thing I do want to point out is that this Skeletor is part of Wave 10 of Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, that includes Webstore, Prince Adam, and Clampchamp. Now, I believe this was Wave 10 of Masterverse, because these were the original black border blue boxes, black and blue border boxes with the side art and the name on the other side and the other artwork on the back. They have since changed the Masterverse box designs that started, I believe, with Wave 12, but I could be wrong and it could have been Wave 11. But actually, yeah, I think it was Wave 11 that the Masterverse started with these new boxes. But either way, the new Masterverse boxes look absolutely sick. And this version of Hordak is called Emperor Hordak. And based on the sub-branding of Masterverse, because Masterverse is its own line of figures, but Masterverse has its own sub-brands within Masters of the Universe, kind of like the way you look at a multiverse in alternate realities. So you got the Princess of Power universe, the He-Man movie universe, the Filmation cartoon universe, Revolution is its own universe, 2000 and X is its own universe, and even New Eternia is its own universe within Masterverse. And come to find out, apparently they're doing a new sub-brand I'm gonna bitch and complain about in a later episode, but apparently we're getting Masterverse Vintage Collection, and yeah, I'll rant about that in the future. But this version of Emperor Hordak has the Evil Horde branding, and he's in the wave that includes Thunder Punch He-Man, Cyclone, who I've already opened on Ian vs. Daddybones. Go support the brand. Go check out those episodes on YouTube and my Facebook. Share them while you at it, please, and throw me some hearts. It really helps me grow. But these four figures, I have all four of them. I already opened Thunder Punch, He-Man, and Cyclone. Gonna do Hordak today. I got Leech right here in the box. But since I'm talking about the Evil Horde, and I could go ahead and start opening up Hordak, but the Evil Horde has been slowly and very weirdly integrated into Masterverse. Like, for example, I'm trying to think exactly what wave it was. I think it was wave 4. Wave 4 or 5. It could have been wave 5. But like, within like the early waves of Masterverse, we got, like, everything with Masterverse started with Masters of the Universe Revelation. And then once Revelation wrapped up and they put out their like base characters, basically by wave 4, they put out the core characters from Revelation, and with wave 4, they basically let you know as a buyer what they plan on doing with this line. And to collectors, it basically seems like Masterverse is trying to very much be a retail version of what was Masters of the Universe Classics. So it's like they got the Trojan horse of the Revelation characters into stores, so now Masters of the Universe is back in stores. But now that they're done with the Revelation figures and they're able to, you know, keep the line going, so it makes perfect sense for Mattel, especially considering they weren't believing in Masters of the Universe back in the day, in like 2008, when they were trying to get Classics off the ground and started. But, you know, because of, you know, Classics crawled so Masterverse can run. That's the way I'm looking at it. But they started doing the different sub-brands within Masterverse, and especially with like Wave 5, now that I think about it, yeah, it was Wave 5, we got She-Ra and we got Hordak. Now, they were both deluxe figures, and at the time, they were in these rectangle boxes, which they have since stopped doing. They no longer had the deluxe. The deluxe boxes are now more square-sized instead of wide rectangles. But She-Ra and Hordak both got deluxe figures, and they were the first two figures to officially have the Princess of Power sub-brand. So She-Ra is based on the She-Ra in the cartoon. It's not necessarily based on the She-Ra action figure from the 80s, and I'll get to that when I talk about She-Ra. But Hordak came out, and Hordak was in his Filmation Princess of Power cartoon form. So he was blue Hordak with his armor and shit. He had his red cape. He had his white and black Hordak mask helmet. And he had his mechanical arm. But he had, most importantly, they made it clear that this Hordak, I'm having a bitch of a time getting his hand open to grip his staff. You know what? I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm going to put it in his other fucking hand. Alright. So, basically, we got Princess of Power Hordak, and he and She-Ra, at that time, were the only figures that had the Princess of Power sub-brand, and they were the only characters for that line. Now, over time, especially with like Wave 9 of Masterverse, they put out Shadow Weaver, and they actually put out another Princess of Power figure, one of the princesses. They put out Frosta. So I have Frosta, I have Shadow Weaver, and they're in my collection. They haven't been opened yet. But, hold on, this Hordak does not want to see who's being a bitch. So they've already expanded on the Princess of Power line. The only issue is they're taking forever when it comes to putting out the members of the Evil Horde. So, and it's like, the weird thing is, we've seen members of the Evil Horde. There's Hordak standing up. We've seen members of the Evil Horde in Masters of the Universe Revolution. Like, the Horde was flat out fully there. We saw Grizzlord, we saw Leech, we saw Mantana. I believe we did see Modulok. But, you know, but even then, like, Hordak's presence was always there. Even with Revelation, when we got Motherboard, you know, Motherboard and Skeletor were like, you know, the cult of Motherboard. They were like the villains of Revelation, but at the end of Revelation, when Skeletor went back to Snake Mountain to get his revenge on everybody who turned on him, and that's when we saw Motherboard come to life, shoot these cables out of her into Skeletor, which converted Skeletor into an upgraded version of himself that's obedient and a member of the Horde again, that we get introduced to and see in Revolution as Skeletech. Like, it's revealed at that moment when Skeletor gets captured and apprehended and the nanobots are like filling up Skeletor, that's when Motherboard flashes out an insignia that is the symbol of the evil Horde. So we ended Revelation knowing that Hordak was controlling Motherboard and we were going to get Hordak in Revolution, which we did. But between the brands of Masterverse, we have a Hordak that exists in Princess of Power that looks like his cartoon form, and now we have this new redesigned version of Hordak from Masters of the Universe Revelation, and I gotta say, for the most part, I'm kind of disappointed in this figure. Alright, that's a little bit better. I'm a little disappointed in this figure. I just moved his torso back a little bit, so he's sticking that bitch out and looking like a fucking emperor instead of just being like kind of hunched over. But basically, this version of Hordak is in his true, I don't want to say Darth Vader mode, but he's definitely in his Palpatine form. And, you know, he looks dressed to impress. Like, he looks super sick in the cartoon when you're... The only thing I don't like, too, I don't like how that little flap is kind of just sticking out. Like, from the front, it's okay, but I kind of wish he had a belt or something. But, I don't know, maybe I could put a rubber band on that at some point to, like, hold it in place for, like, a couple of hours and then maybe see if it'll go down. Or maybe I'll take, like, see if I could take a blow dryer and maybe warm that up a bit and just get it a little more flatter, because you can do that. But basically, this version of Hordak looks really fucking regal, and he looked extremely badass. Like, he wasn't snorting and transforming himself into a fucking rocket or other dumb shit like that. He didn't have an imp, you know what I mean? So, it wasn't 80s goofy Hordak. There's a rumor and a backstory that the evil Horde was inspired by the Universal movie monsters, and with Hordak and the evil Horde itself having this bat motif, he's basically like this freaking technological, like, vampire bat, and there's a lot of vampire and bat qualities to Hordak's features and appearance. So he looks pretty dope when we see him in Masters of the Universe Revolution, but at the same time, this figure form is very stiff and very tight. So tight. Like, he's wearing this soft goods. Like, I understand it's a cloak. You know what I mean? Like this is his evil Horde military battle dress. Totally get it. You know what I mean? Like, he's looking ready to fucking murder people, but at the same time, he's still looking very, very fucking regal, very elegant, very formal, very demure, or like smelling like shit. But, he's rocking this outfit, and he's got these, like, I always call them shoulder pads, but you know, because I grew up with the Road Warriors and '80s moms. So like with '80s moms wearing their work blazers, they always had shoulder pads and shit in their fucking dresses and whatnot. And he definitely looks like he's rocking some Legion of Doom shoulder pads. The only thing missing is some fucking spikes. But he's got his everything's very hard. Even though it's soft, it's still very hard. Like, he's got this long, pliable plastic, but because even though it's soft and pliable, it's still long and in the way. So I can't, I'm not trying to spread his legs like a whore, but it's like, and even though his name is Hordak, I mean, he's not a whore, he's just Hordak, but I can't really pose his legs that much, I had to, kind of, open up his skirt and peek up there. What do you got up there? I had to open up his skirt, and I had to reach up and rotate his leg just so I can get him to stand properly. And for the most part, he looks pretty good. But at the same time, at least with Skeletor, for the most part, there's some room to move. So I was able to bend his knee slightly and get him to stand. So he's looking pretty dope and sick. But the shoulder pads limit his arm rotation and movement. All I could really do is this, because if I try moving his arms up, all it's going to do is try pushing that fucking shoulder pads up, and he's going to look like that. Absolutely hideous. So for the most part, I would say, and I'm looking at it from different angles. What if I was a child playing with this? You know what I mean? Can't really do much with him. I mean, you can, but you can't. You're limited because of his attire. But for a collector, he's fucking dope, because I could just put him on a shelf like that and he'll still look sick every time I see him. But that's the thing. Even as a collector, you shouldn't have to be limited to your box pose. You know what I mean? I shouldn't always have to keep him in the pose that he was in inside this packaging, because I got limited fucking movement on what's supposed to be a fully articulated character figure with 30 points of articulation. And sometimes I feel attention to detail is too much. Like my honest opinion, it would have made a lot better sense to give me a kind of stiffer, rigid fabric. I mean, if you would have gave me the pliable plastic cape, but gave me the fabric robe like you did with Trapjaw and Triclops, there would have been something to work with better. You know what I mean? You'd have more to work with. You'd have more room to move if that was fabric. But even with the Trapjaw and the Triclops motherboard robes, you still had the fabric garment, but then you had the plastic piece that went over it. Still, if the shoulder pads were fully removable, and you know what, they might be, but I don't know. I think they might be permanently attached to this, and I'm not about. He doesn't come with an alternate head, so I really have no reason to try and take Hordak's head off. I mean, it's not like Skeletor having 2 or 3 extra heads. This guy only came with one, and he just came with his fucking staff. But I feel if they would have reversed the material on his cape and his actual attire, you'd have a more posable character, but that still doesn't change. He's very limited with his arms. So other than holding his staff, it's not I can't get him in battle stances like this. This figure's gonna be a bitch if I want to take a shit ton of decent pictures of him in different poses. I'm not gonna get there. But overall, he's a wonderful, updated, current look for his Hordak. I really think that's one of his best overall character designs. I just think in the end, it's kind of a shitty figure in final execution, only because his movement's fucking limited by all of his accessories and outfit and shit. But overall, sick fucking Hordak, and this is a nice Hordak that I could pair with this Skeletor. And going back to the Skeletor real quick, because I keep thinking of things that I was trying to focus on the last episode, and it happens. Every time I do an episode and I'm editing or mixing it down, I'm thinking of shit, I forgot to mention that, or I forgot to mention this. But the one thing with this Skeletor that bothers me, and I understand given the time it came out, it's meant to fit in with this comic book character, this comic book story that he appeared in, wearing that outfit, and they fully explain that in the description. I get it, but they have shown that version of Skeletor after that story as not only Skeletor wearing that outfit, but Keldor wearing the outfit as well. He was wearing that outfit when he was dressed as Keldor, you know what I mean? When shit hit the fan and he took the Havoc staff and his face melted off, I at least wish this Skeletor came out later than it originally did. I wish this Skeletor did not have the blue and black box. I wish this Skeletor had the redesigned box with the updated packaging art, because that would have meant that it came out at a later time, so there would have been more information to go back into this Skeletor. So hopefully by the time he did come out, they would include him with at least a Keldor head or a secondary head that shows half Keldor, half Skeletor with his face like fucking melting off. But then again, that could be another figure for another day, and for all I know, that figure could come out next year at some point, and a year from now, I could be opening up that very Keldor Skeletor apprentice figure. Alright, took a quick break and we're back, but I'm going to get out of here in a few minutes. But before I get out of here, I want to tell a story real quick. Mission finally accomplished. Me and my buddy Jim, who started collecting Masters of the Universe Origins and Masterverse figures, in addition to some other stuff Jim started collecting. Jim's a supporter of the show, and I really appreciate my mostly daily interaction with him, staying on top of everything going on with our toy collecting, and especially Masters of the Universe and any figures that are about to drop. But basically, this past spring, Mattel had a revealed event, and not to mention the fact that internet's internet, and they do news and reveals. Well, they made an announcement that Walmart was going to get like these exclusive Snake Men figures, right? They were going to get Terror and Lord Grasp and another figure named Necroconda, and they were going to be exclusive to Walmart, and Walmart was going to have this pre-order drop. And long story short, like always, Walmart always fucks up the pre-order exclusives to where they sell out immediately because they have no purchase protection. The bots and the scumbags eat all that shit up. So the average Joe toy collector has a bitch of a time simply trying to pre-order just one of these figures to add to our collections, because all the bots and the scalpers and the scumbags will take that shit. So basically, they fucked up the online pre-orders. Nobody, for the most part, was able to get these figures. Some were able to and bragged about it online like assholes and rubbed it in people's faces. But in my area, I was able to, and this was like at the end of April, and I believe I told this story in the spring, but this is updated current information. Basically, I went to Walmart and I talked to a manager because I caught like 3 of them with their like Walmart tablets, like having a little, over by the cosmetics, they were having a little powwow at first thing in the morning. So I went over to talk to the managers, and I explained to them what I'm trying to do in the situation. I'm like, you guys got these exclusive characters, and they're starting to show up in Walmarts. People are posting pictures online. Is there any way you could search your system to tell me if these figures are going to be arriving at the store anytime soon. So I gave him the names, Terror, Lord Grasp, correct spelling. He found the figures, told me that they were actually on the next truck that's going to be coming to the store on Sunday to deliver shit. So I'm like, okay, so your shipment's arriving on Sunday. When would be the best time for me to show up at the store with the intention of buying these figures? And the guy told me to be there Monday morning at 7 a.m. First thing, just go to the toys, find a Walmart employee, and if they don't have them on the shelf, they will go to the back and they will grab what you're looking for. And, you know, I told Jim, hey, I got to work on Memorial Day because Sunday was the day before Memorial Day. And so Jim said that he was going to go to Walmart on our behalf and he was going to grab 2 Terrors and 2 Lord Grasps, and we were gonna be all set. So Jim goes down there, and I'm at work, and I'm at work doing my thing, and I'm waiting for Jim to like text me whether we had green light, red light, or whatever the fuck. And Jim told me and was, he messaged me. He was like, "Son of a bitch, fucking Walmart." And I'm like, "Oh my God, what happened?" Well, long story short, they refused to even go bother looking for the figures. They were being complete shitbags that people that they couldn't take 5 minutes to go look. And even Jim told the guy, well, we talked to a manager. I'm only asking you to go look because the manager told me to show up here Monday morning looking for these figures. And if I don't find them, to find somebody, and you guys would go to the back and you would go find what I'm looking for. They refused to do that. Basically, without telling Jim to fuck off, they told Jim to fuck off. So basically, we were empty-handed, we were angry about that shit, and we were seriously, we've back and forth at different times over the course of the summer. We were fuming about that shit, because they were starting to show up at people's Walmarts, they weren't showing up in ours at all. So we were actually like, we're never gonna get these fucking figures. Then Big Bad Toy Store gets them in pre-order stock. So we were able to pre-order them through Big Bad Toy Store along with another exclusive character named Viper. And not only did Terror finally arrive, process, and hit my pile of loot, I got the email about Lord Grasp 2 weeks ago. I'm still waiting on Lord Grasp to arrive and hit my pile of loot. But the other day, I got the email that Viper officially processed, hit my pile of loot. So as of right now, I have Viper and Terror in my pile of loot at Big Bad Toy Store. But this past weekend, Jim sent me a message while I was filming some OGPC VR content in this very location. Jim sent me a message and was like, "Hey man, look what I just found at Soundground." Sends me a picture of Lord Grasp. And I'm like, "Oh my God, do they have any more?" Sure enough, he said, "Dude, they got 2 more in stock." So with the quickness, paused what I was doing, went down to Soundaround, moonwalked my way into that fucking store, grabbed myself a Lord Grasp, and I came back and I finished my VR content. So I can officially say I have my Terror, I have my Viper, I have my Lord Grasp in hand at home. However, I'm still waiting for that second Lord Grasp pre-order to arrive, and if Terror is still in stock at Soundaround, I'm going to go back there later this week. So I will now have 2 of both of the Snake Men I've been trying so hard to get since fucking Memorial Day. So I am super psyched about that. Now, if only we could find a Turtles of Grayskull Merman, and there's one more Turtles of Grayskull figure at Walmart I'm trying to look for that I can't fucking find, and I'm so pissed off I can't find him right now. I don't even remember who the hell it is, but I know Bopsteady is coming out at Target, and Bopsteady is going to be the Rocksteady and Bebop 2-Bad hybrid, and that's going to be the final piece of the Metal Botto figure that I'm looking really forward to building and showing y'all here on Ian vs. Daddybones. So do me a solid, throw me those hearts, smash that share button, help me increase my reach, and until next time, cheers, Pete!
Fuck Ian Daddybones. Fuck Twin Widow, whatever the hell it is. No one gives a shit about you, Ian. Everyone hates you. Fuck off.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Having a banger and you're all invited. Share with friends and I'll see you later. Bring everyone, invite my haters. Throw your hands in the fucking air. Let's push a cripple down a flight of stairs. Got new shit right for your ears. My Hadouken is downright fierce. Rock out with my cock out. Jump around, I got your shout outs. I'm Daddybones, no need to panic. Talking riddles like a schizophrenic. 24/7, I got the party. Roofie-roos and whoop-de-doos. Retarded fools with attitudes, bro. Everything's mixed with Bacardi. Glow stick black like tons of bubbles. Titties on bitches, nothing but trouble. Got my pills, ain't no quitter. Pop that shit, here comes my glitter. Not a dancer, I got no skills. Bobbing my head and standing still. Tons of bitches, ravers, goths. Down to fucking get your salad tossed. It's the greatest thing that you ever saw. Put your hands in the air for a party. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Having a bang and you're all invited.
Get kids posing, muscles flexing, trainings dressed like your favorite X-Men. If there's one thing that drives me crazy, you give high fives but you fucking hate me. Might have rabies, might have herpes. Breastfeed me and you'll have to burp me. I'll be up on stage, throwing out beads, grabbing my dick and spraying my seed all over your face. That's fucking rude. Raise it up and show your boobs. Dance around and go friggin' nuts. Just b-boy stance and light your blunts. Don't be a cunt. Tuck your chain, don't start no shit. Use your brain, it's all a game. Let's play some Yahtzee. Eat Tide Pods and punch a Nazi.
Not a dancer, I got no skills. Bobbing my head and standing still. Tons of bitches, ravers, goths.
Down to fucking get your salad tossed. It's the greatest thing that you ever saw. Put your hands